Welcome to a meeting of the Hunterdon Central Regional High School Board of Education. Please be advised that this and all meetings of the board are open to the public and media, consistent with the Open Public Meetings Act, and that advance notice required therein has been provided. Meeting notice was also posted in the boardroom of the Upper School campus, sent to the Courier News, Star Ledger, Express Times, and the Hunterdon County Democrat, and sent to the clerks of Delaware Township, East Amwell, Flemington Borough, Raritan Township, and Reddington Township. The public will have an opportunity to be heard as shown on the agenda. Can I get a roll call, please?
Mrs. Duggan?
Here.
Ms. Gong?
Here.
Mrs. Gray?
Here.
Dr. Halpern?
Here.
Mrs. Kellogg?
Here.
Ms. LaCosta? Mrs. Rothel?
Here.
Mrs. Peterson? And Mrs. Santangelo.
Here. All right, please join us in a flag salute, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. A little off. All right. Claudia, would you read the district mission statement, please?
Hunterdon Central is an innovative educational community dedicated to the intellectual, social, and emotional safety and growth of all students. While fostering curiosity and promoting wellness, we aspire to create powerful learning experiences, establish strong partnerships, and serve as contributing members of society.
You don't have to, it's a discretionary.
Well, we need clarification, so we're going to table it.
So I would,
Separate it, right?
yeah.
Okay. All right, so next we're going to approve the minutes from last month's meeting. We're going to actually do it in two motions because the executive session minutes have a, we need to clarify something, so we're going to actually move to table that to next month because Mary Ann is not here. So I would like to just make a motion to approve the minutes only from last month. Can I get a roll call on that? And a second? I'm sorry.
Second.
Thank you. And a roll call. Thank you.
Mrs. Duggan?
Yes.
Ms. Gong?
Yes.
Ms. Gray?
Abstain.
Dr. Halpern?
Abstain.
Mrs. Kellogg?
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mrs. Rothel?
Yes.
And Mrs. Santangelo.
Yes.
Now you need to do a motion to table.
Yep. So my next motion is to table the executive session minutes from last month because we want to get a clarification from Mary Ann Stokes. So we will put that back on the agenda for next month. Can I get a second?
Second.
And a roll call, please.
Mrs. Duggan?
Yes.
Ms. Gong?
Yes.
Ms. Gray?
Yes.
Dr. Halpern?
Abstain.
Mrs. Kellogg?
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson? Mrs. Rothel?
Yes.
And Mrs. Santangelo.
Yes. All right. We have correspondence that was received by the board. It will be maintained on file in the office of the board secretary. Next up is the president's report. So good evening, everyone. I would like to begin by clarifying the confusion from last month's meeting regarding mental health services in the district. First, school-based youth services began as a grant-funded program at no direct cost to the district. The initial contract was minimal in scope and lacked clear oversight and accountability. The board raised valid concerns about whether the services were aligned with the terms of the contract and the needs of Central. As board counsel explained in detail last month, the administration attempted over many months to work with the provider to address these concerns, but those efforts were ultimately unsuccessful, and the administration made the decision to terminate the relationship and did not recommend that the district enter a new contract with school-based youth services. This matter did not require a board vote and was not placed on the agenda. Although this service was free, it came with risk. The contract left the district exposed to potential liability and litigation based on the conduct of individuals over which the board had no control, and the provider failed to work with the district regarding concerns. Grants at no cost to the district can seem appealing, but this experience reinforces the need for thorough vetting, clear contractual protection, and a focus on how external services truly add value for our students. We now have New Jersey 4S in its place. So just to recap, The administration ended the relationship with school-based, not the board. We never voted on it. Next is Care Plus. Care Plus was brought to the board for a vote. Given what had recently unfolded with school-based, many board members were cautious about entering into another external contract. The claim that the board waited until right before school started is inaccurate. Back in the spring, I personally recommended the administration consider hiring additional internal staff if additional counseling was warranted, rather than pursue another contract. The law and board policy both limit the use of such contracts to areas where the district lacks in-house resources and expertise. A clear preference exists for in-house services. This recommendation was not pursued. The board was not informed that the administration had begun the RFP process for an external service provider until July 15th, even though the RFP indicated that vendor responses were submitted in June. Our questions and concerns, including contractual issues, were not adequately addressed to a majority of the board members' satisfaction when the matter was presented for a vote. In addition, our request for the maximum budget amount for these services per the law and policy 0177 was never provided. Keep in mind, these services have also increased by over 25% over the course of 4 years. As a result, we could not support these services. However, the good news is that the administration now supports and looks like they are going to pursue the original recommendation and preference for hiring additional in-house staff. On the October agenda, we are expecting to see the administration make a recommendation to hire an internal employee to serve on the child study team. It's unfortunate that the process unfolded the way it did. We're encouraged, though, to see this course correction and a more accountable approach to these services. We will now have probably one of the most robust counseling departments in New Jersey, according to Becky Peterson's thorough research. Excuse me. Please don't do that while we're speaking. Okay, so I'm going to ask you not to interrupt. If you interrupt, I'm going to have security ask you to leave. It's very simple. You need to adhere to the rules. I want to remind everyone that while the board takes the superintendent's recommendations seriously, our role is not to rubber stamp them. According to New Jersey law, if our decisions are not arbitrary or capricious, which this was not, it is within our purview to reject or request modifications to such recommendations. Given the public scrutiny we operate under, we routinely consult with board counsel to ensure that our actions are both lawful and in the district's best interest. Our mandate is to govern the district responsibly, not to run it, but to ensure it is run well. This year, the board has made substantial improvements in transparency by implementing a board handbook, establishing a regular president's report, launching a Board of Education newsletter, including committee reports, and ensuring that the board gets to review the legal bills, which we were not permitted to do in the past. These measures have significantly increased transparency, fostered board participation, and allowed all board members to have a voice in the process, including those not on specific committees. This board is committed to accountability and open governance. We have shared more information with the public than ever before, and we remain focused on improving how we serve our students and families. Thank you. Next up, we will have the superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's been some time since our last board meeting, and a lot has happened since then. Most importantly, we welcome back our students and staff, and our school year has settled into strong routines and powerful learning experiences for students. The start of the school year brings a new energy and a rejuvenation of our commitment to our district mission statement, which Claudia read recently. And this year is no different. It was good to speak to parents at our back to school night and hear their perspective on how their children are doing at Central this year. We are honored to be able to involve our students in board meetings again this year. Just as we had last year, we will have 2 student representatives to the Board of Education. Our administrative leadership team has reappointed Bronwyn Downey. Bronwyn, could you wave? Oh, we could clap. Bronwyn is now a senior, and she has served in this capacity last year. We also held an election for a second student representative where we had 15 students in the running, an excellent testament to our students' desire to be involved in their school community. I would like to congratulate and officially welcome Alexis Chen, who is also a senior at Central. Alexis, could you wave? Bronwyn and Alexis are leaders in our school community, and they bring with them the energy, perspective, and insight that only our students can provide. Their voices will help us stay grounded in what matters most, the experiences of the young people that we serve. I am very energized by the fact that we had them as they step into this role, and I'd like to ask everyone to give them the time and space to get acclimated and ask that we refrain from asking them questions at the table at this time. This will allow them to ease into the process this year and contribute meaningfully. To Bronwyn and Alexis, thank you for your eagerness to serve in this role. Your participation shows both your leadership and your commitment to your classmates and greater school community. We're excited to hear from you and to learn alongside you this year. Next, I wanted to give an update on some key items. First, we have both board and district goals on the agenda for your action tonight. We have been working on the district goals, as you know, and the corresponding metrics over the past couple of months. I believe these represent metrics suggested by the district's leadership team as well as our board members. As everyone reviews the metrics, and because we heard from the public about some of this last month, I think it's important to iterate and to commit to the work that goes beyond the metrics you see. Our goal statements are designed to be broad so they can capture the forward-thinking and student-centered priorities and work that we have always valued and aspired to. Because our goals need metrics, these are some of the ways in which we will be measuring the progress along the goal statements. Rest assured that our work extends beyond the metrics. For example, when we look at the metrics and instructional priorities and student achievement, you'll see specifics about testing data and increasing our baseline from this past year. This is a valid metric and one that is utilized by the New Jersey Department of Education. What you do not see is our district-wide focus on higher order thinking as we develop models by department and design professional learning experiences around these. We have always believed that assessment scores should be a byproduct of strong instruction, and this is no different. I am very glad we have settled on our goal statements and metrics, and I am confident that this will serve as a good basis for our work together as we begin the strategic planning process next month. I also want to provide an update on mental health services, as this received much attention at last month's board meeting and continued attention in the public and media. As a district, we believe that student academic success is our highest priority. At the same time, we recognize that true academic achievement is only possible when students' needs are being met. This includes their physical, social, and mental health needs. That is why we are seeking to continue with additional mental health services that support the whole student. By doing so, we are ensuring that every student has the foundation they need to thrive academically. Our counseling department has a specialized structure that is unique to our district and helps to serve our house team model. Each grade level has 3 counselors and a student assistance counselor or SAC, who work with our grade level vice principal and nurse on a team. Even with these specialized supports, we have seen an increase in student mental health needs over the past 6 years. This is not just a district-wide need or trend. This is true on a national level. It is combined with our students' and families' desire to have exceptional counseling services and an environment where our students feel comfortable reaching out for help and guidance. We have extremely caring and dedicated counseling staff, but we need additional support for our students. We previously had 2 external mental health services in our district, school-based youth services and Care Plus. Last month, I noted that we had been working with Hunterdon Behavioral Health to address concerns about the school-based youth services program and potential changes to enhance the services, but could not come to an agreement to continue those particular services, and therefore, I could not recommend them for renewal. Additionally, I had recommended a contract with Care Plus again for this coming school year, and as we know, this did not receive the support to move forward with the 2 Care Plus counselors. At the end of last month's board meeting, I told you that I would be working swiftly and intentionally with our staff to develop some alternatives. I want to review the alternatives that we have come up with. First, we have partnered with NJ4S for free mental health services for students. They provide 3 tiers of services. Generally speaking, Tier 1 services are for everyone and include school-wide, grade level, or parent group presentations. Tier 2 services include small group counseling for students who are referred on topics that we deem a need. For example, they may be topics on grief, cyberbullying, or school avoidance. For these small groups, NJ4S has over 95 evidence-based programs that they can utilize. Tier 3 services are individualized counseling support for students while also linking the student and their family with additional resources in our community. The Tier 1 and 2 services will be particularly beneficial to our district, as this is not something that school-based youth services did. While NJ4S will provide Tier 3 services, we still have a need for student mental health needs that require more immediate responses and counseling. Through our committee meetings this month, we discussed additional alternatives, and we have resolved on hiring a full-time staff member who will serve in a mental health clinician capacity. This staff member will work with our most at-risk students, as well as with the counseling and child study team departments. While this does not require any board action tonight, I felt it was important for everyone to have this update. You will see a job posting for this position soon, and we hope to be able to bring you a candidate recommendation next month. Tonight, we will hear from Rob Hastings, our Supervisor of Special Projects, TED, Broadcast Technologies, and Business, and yes, that is his title. He has a lot of different responsibilities, about the district's magnet programs. We have been developing magnet programs for the past 8 years or so, and we are very proud of the work we have done to strengthen the programs and increase the opportunities for our students. This is also related to one of our district goals and metrics in communication and student voice. Dr. Hastings, I will have you take the lead now, and I'll ask our BOE members, just for ease and efficiency, if we stay up here. The presentation is linked in Board Docs, so you'll be able to view it.
Down, right? That's not bad.
Community, thank you so much for the opportunity and the platform tonight to talk about an area that I'm really passionate about, which is our magnet programs. This is something as part of my job position as special projects is that I oversee our 6 different academies that we have at Hunterdon Central. The logos are on this slide right here, and our 6 academies being architectural design, the biomedical sciences, computer science, engineering, media and communications, and robotics. So these are 6 different areas of academic rigor, but even though we're in academic areas, there are still characteristics that are embedded within all of our magnet programs, and I listed them on this slide. One of them being a cohesive pathway of experiences. So each of our magnets are 3 years or 4 years, but all of our courses have been thoughtfully designed to increase in complexity and in real-world experience as we go through the program. Another one of those characteristics being that there are accessible on-ramps. So our academies don't have admissions processes where students have to test in. If you're interested in a subject or you just have a spark of curiosity or you want to try to develop your passion in an area, you can take the first course of any magnet program. So they're available to everybody as an on-ramp. And if you decide to go on, great. And if you decide that it's not for you, you can choose to get off that ramp and then try something else. But if you do choose to continue to move into the next course of your magnet sequence, there is a supportive peer cohort that'll go with you. These people in your class will share that enthusiasm and that interest with you, and ultimately help to build community and to collaborate with one another in order to have this provided supportive peer cohort as you work through your program. In the last part of the courses, there is a capstone learning experiences that students engage in, which is basically the culmination of all of their learning. So you're synthesizing what you've learned in 3 to 4 classes, and you're applying that learning to a real-world independent project under the guidance and mentorship of your Magnet Academy teacher. And then embedded also within our Magnet Academies is the opportunities to earn college credits through our dual enrollment partnerships or to earn industry-valued credentials. So, for instance, our Media and Communications Magnet have partnerships with Seton Hall University. We have NJIT as a partner with our Engineering Academy, and then Raritan Valley Community College and many other universities that are local to us here. So regardless of whether you're going into robotics or you're going into architecture, all of these components are embedded within your program in one way or another. And throughout this presentation tonight, I've invited some students to come speak as well to just share their experiences about their Magnet programs and to speak about kind of their cohesive pathway and their supportive peer cohort. I want to bring up 2 of those speakers, one of them representing the Engineering Academy and one representing the Architectural Design Academy. So meet Reed and Ryan.
Hello, everyone. My name's Ryan, as he said. I personally have experienced the engineering program. So in my freshman year, I did TED, and then last year I took Engineering 1, and this year I'm in Honors Engineering. One thing that I really want to speak about is specifically one of the teachers who leads the engineering program, Mr. Brokaw. While he's only one of the teachers in this department, he formerly worked at Lockheed Martin, working on satellites, so he has a leading experience. He knows what he's doing, and I just think that really allows students to be pushed and learn skills that are necessary in the actual field. Not just you need to learn this because it's on the curriculum, but this is going to help you later down the line in college and in the real world. Personally, a lot of my friends went to college already. Some of them are currently in college, and some of them speak to me about what they're learning, and a lot of it is what I'm learning in class. Personally, Mr. Brokaw has pushed me to even further than I thought I could be pushed, and able to achieve things that, to be honest, I never realized were possible from a high school student. So I just think that that's really just the strength of this program. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Reed Layler, and I am part of the Architectural Design Academy Magnet program here at Hunterdon Central. So far, the hands-on experience and engaging projects I have worked on have not only made learning fun, but have opened my eyes to the possibilities that the world of architecture offers. I began participating in this program last year and have already gained so much knowledge from both my peers and my mentor, Mrs. Smith, who are all equally excited about creativity and design. Each project we tackle is more than an assignment. It is an opportunity to explore not only the study of architecture, but each of our unique perspectives as high school students. We are not just learning to draw and design, but to think critically, solve problems, and communicate our ideas effectively. Being a part of this program has been an incredible journey so far, and we look forward to developing new skills to help give us a head start as we begin our future careers in the professional world. Thank you.
So thank you, Ryan and Reed. So to move on, just as a refresher, these are our 6 current Magnet programs that we were talking about. Each of these have a 3-year or a 4-year structure, depending on the individual program. One thing that I want to highlight here is something different that we do with our Media and Communications Academy, which is different than the other 5 offerings, is that there are tracks that students can choose to participate in as part of that academy. So they take their introductory course and then they can choose to engage in the academy in podcasting and audio production or in television and video production. And in 2026, 2027, there will be a journalism track added to that Media and Communications Academy as well. So there's, enrollment benefits for entering into our academy. So one being that students remain on campus, right? There are some programs throughout the whole state of New Jersey where students may be in high school for half of the day and then go to another high school for the half of the day to complete their magnet program. But our program is woven into the students' daily schedule and campus life, meaning that they still can participate in sports or student activities or clubs or the theater or the musical, all with their friends. So they stay here and they get to have that full high school 4-year experience here. As we talked about earlier with that accessible on-ramp, students are exploring without pressure. So trying a course doesn't lock them into something. It kind of opens them up to a broader and wider range of possibilities. So sometimes when you try something, you might develop a passion, and that's what trying a lot of the courses in our magnet programs aims to do. It's hoped to develop a passion that's already there or just a curiosity into a passion. And then at the culmination, students will earn an endorsement. So a Hunterdon Central Magnet Program endorsement signals to colleges and to universities and to employers that students engaged in a rigorous academic track and with real-world skills and with industry standards so that they're fully prepared for the next step in whatever careers they decide to partake in. I do have another student I want to bring up at this time who will be earning this endorsement after this year. She's a senior, and she has completed the Media and Communications Academy and the Television and Video Production track. So Callie, if you don't mind coming on down and giving some notes.
Hi all, my name is Callie Culleton. I started exploring my love for film my freshman year in TV1, and since then I've taken TV2, and I'm scheduled for an independent study this upcoming spring semester. The curriculum of Central's broadcast program is purposefully curated so that the projects reflect real-world, industry-specific challenges. This curriculum, combined with the professional studio-level equipment provided to students, effectively prepares them for the field. This program requires students to be well-rounded, teaching them all parts of pre-production, production, and post-production, while also providing out-of-school opportunities to further our experience. This is a phenomenal program filled with staff that only want to see you succeed. I'd like to give a special shout out to my film teacher, Mr. Lazovic, who does a phenomenal job of pushing us to be our best selves in our craft. Thank you very much.
So as we've been engaging with expanding and broadening our magnet programs, we started to think about, as a magnet program committee and as a supervisor team, the kind of students that theoretically would be successful in these programs, and also historically, for the classes that have been running, the students that achieved the most success, kind of what were their characteristics. Now, our classes are open to everybody, but when you start to look at, especially in these 3 academies, architectural design, biomedical science, computer science, about who the academy may be ideal for, there's a lot of common themes here. So asking why and how, being able to think analytically and creatively, being able to visualize. There's a lot of hands-on design thinking, problem-solving, solutions-oriented curriculums here for people that may be interested to be either future architects or aspiring doctors or future software engineers. And that pattern continues in our other 3 academies, engineering, media, communications, and robotics. You have students that are hands-on learners. They enjoy storytelling, being behind the microphone, coding, mechanics. The creative piece is also there as well. So even though you're taking 6 different academies, or a student is taking one of the 6 different academies, there's still a lot of overlap between the kinds of skills that they're going to be expected to and present to have. So I just want to, before I go on to the next slide, I want to bring up 2 more people. One person representing the Robotics Academy and one person representing our Biomedical Sciences Academy. So Thatcher, Sebastian.
Hi, my name is Sebastian, and I'm an inspiring doctor who has been in the biomed program for 3 years. This program has given me opportunities that I wouldn't have had if I took the normal curriculum the school gives. I have participated in countless dissections, and on top of that, I've learned major, in-depth human anatomy. I've worked on case studies that have allowed me to see how doctors think and what my future health careers might look like. I also participated in a field trip to the Rutgers Medical School that gave me a chance to see cadavers for the very first time, which is something mostly college students would get to do. Overall, this program is an opportunity I'm very grateful for, and it has helped me a lot in discovering my career in being a doctor.
Hello, my name is Thatcher Wright, and over the past 3 years, I was a part of the robotics magnet program at Hunterdon Central. I got an amazing experience with opportunities to channel my creativity into gratifying robotics projects that involved career skills such as, but not limited to, manufacturing with a CNC machine, computer-assisted design, or CAD, using machine shop tools, programming, welding, and much, much more. These hands-on opportunities were unbelievably important for my goals as I go forward and continue my education in robotics and automation. I am very grateful to the program and to teachers like Mr. Mastro Pietro, who showed me what I could really do in the field and all of the different things that would be important as I pursue my career. Thank you.
So up until now, you've heard about our 6 current academies that are running at Hunterdon Central, but there is expansion happening too along the way. So I'm very honored to talk about our 2 new academies that are joining us in 2026 and 2027. The Learners to Leaders Education Academy, which is career-focused for students who may be interested in the field of education. And then we're going to have the Performing Arts Academy, which emphasizes creativity, expression, and choice. And just like media and communications, there are going to be specialized tracks in theater, instrumental music, and vocal music. And for those magnet programs, there's a lot of creativity and a lot of just curiosity. So students who are curious about the science behind childhood, very similar to the biomedical science program where we're asking why and how. And then also for those students that wish to build confidence and be creative, very similar to our Media and Communications Academy, where that happens behind the microphone and behind the camera. So these are 2 natural fits that are going to expand our magnet program and make it even stronger. So we're very excited about adding them next year. As part of the marketing for all of our academies, we are going to be having a magnet program showcase on campus. The date is going to be Tuesday, October 28th at 6:30 in the Commons. And we're going to be inviting our 7th grade families, our 8th grade families, and our community here at Hunterdon Central to come learn a little bit more about our individual magnet programs. Most of our teachers will be in the classrooms and will be able to speak to you about our programs. We're going to have student representatives giving testimonials similar to all of our speakers here tonight. And then you'll get a chance to witness few student projects, visit the classrooms, kind of see what it's all about. And we'll have all of the 6 current academies open with information about our new academies as well. Okay. So you can learn more about Hunterdon Central's magnet program on our website. If you go to the academics tab, there is course sequences, there's descriptions, and there's videos giving you just more information. So thank you for the time. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hastings, and I really want to take a moment to acknowledge the amazing participation of our students. So Reed, Ryan, Halia, Sebastian, Thatcher, and then also Bronwyn and Alexis. Thank you so much. It makes me so happy. See, I can't even speak, but it really makes me so happy to have students here again. It's just a reminder of why we're here and why we're doing what we're doing. And I'm sure every staff member, I think every board member would say the same thing. So thank you so much for being here. Okay, so now Alexis and Bronwyn, but really Bronwyn, since Alexis only found out at 1 p.m. today that she was our student representative. So Bronwyn has prepared a report for us, and she will be reporting on the specialized happenings going on in the community. I am always so glad to see students take an interest in our school district and our community. Their involvement is so important. And with that in mind, I wanted to remind us all that we serve as models for them, not only in the decisions we make, but also in the way we interact with one another. Our meetings should reflect the same civility, respect, and constructive dialogue that we want our students to demonstrate in their own lives. I hope we all keep this in mind and in our forefront as we move through tonight's agenda and in any future meetings. And Bronwyn, I have read your report in advance, so I had a sneak peek. I'm very excited, and I hope I didn't step on your toes in anything that I said tonight. So I'll hand it over to you.
All right. Thank you. All right, good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Bronwyn Downey. I'm a senior here at Central, and I am the student representative for this Board of Education. Tonight, I will be introducing the role of the student rep to those who don't know, and reporting on student life here at Central as we start the school year. For those who don't know, student representatives were introduced to the board table last year. They were a part of a new New Jersey state law in order to essentially increase the role of the student in the school's decisions and ideas. As student rep this year, I will continue reporting to you all about student life, events, and ideas, as well as report back to the students through ideas forums and lunchtime sessions to get their input and tell them all about the board meetings. Since my co-rep, Erin, has since graduated, we were in the process this month of getting a new student representative through a student election. So interested students applied through a Google form, and then students from all grades were able to vote from these list of candidates. And I'm looking forward to working with Alexis and with you all this year. As far as student news goes, students were welcomed back to Central this year on September 2nd, and as expected, immediately began participating in various events across campus. For seniors, we had our college planning night with the wonderful college and career counselor, Mrs. Nectarline, in order to get ready for our future. And senior sunrise out on Stewart Field in order to appreciate our final year of high school. On September 18th, all grades had their class meetings in order to meet their grade level teams and get a feel for just how much you can fill the Central Auditorium. That same day, parents learned the same thing during this year's back to school night, with various student groups like Model UN and Interact Club holding bake sales to fundraise for their events this year. As always, our Central community is going strong with support from various students. Students with high school scores on the PSAT test as juniors were honored as semifinalists and commended students in the National Merit Competition, which will award scholarships for some finalists next year. Central sophomores and juniors will be traveling to Dorney Park on October 10th, thanks to their hard work and fundraising efforts from the class councils. Finally, Central will be holding their homecoming football game and dance on Friday, October 17th. In arts news, the Marching Red Devils scored 74.9 out of 100 points in their home show competition as the hosts of the event. And this Friday, the Thespian Honor Society will hold their beginning of the year showcase with songs, scenes, and monologues from the talented theater students. Also, fall sports are in full swing. Boys soccer won against Watchung Hills 2-0 to start off their season. Girls volleyball, at the time of my report, had 6 wins so far. And the boys football team won against North Hunterdon and Monroe, and then Union. Many fall athletes will be honored at our Central Pep Rally to finish off the Spirit Week, and are encouraged to wear their uniforms to school on October 17th. I wish the best of luck to all fall sports teams as we move forward in the season. And then as far as representation goes for students, Mr. Brandt and Ms. Cangelosi-Hade held the first student lunch, which was on Wednesday, September 24th. We had various student reps from the class and student councils across grade levels. And we discussed plans to send out pulse surveys to students to get a sense of their desires for Central. So these surveys would include Likert scales and open-ended questions to get feedback more consistently throughout the year, in addition to the annual climate and culture surveys that are already given. Attendance at the meeting suggested including questions on this survey regarding lunch options and pricing, block scheduling and length, and phone rules based off of the goal of seeking more input from students and developing those solutions. This feedback will then be used to develop questions on the subsequent survey sent out to the student body, and we're looking forward to this new avenue of communication this year. Thank you all for listening to my long report tonight. I look forward to welcoming in Alexis, and as always, wish to continue sharing the passion students have for Central through a variety of outreach methods this year. Happy September.
Thank you so much, Bronwyn. And I have something written to further explain the pulse surveys, and I don't even need to do that because you did a better job than I actually wrote it here. So great job. I am really looking forward to seeing what develops as our group progresses through and as we get the feedback. And if you read through the district goals and metrics, you know that this actually fits under our student voice and communication goals. So thank you to our students for helping with that. And Alexis, welcome again. I appreciate you being here when you only found out just 6 hours ago. And we're looking forward to getting your voice heard here next month, okay? I'm now going to ask Mr. Brandt to come. I know this is a long report. I apologize. There's a lot of exciting things going on. But I will now ask Mr. Brandt, our principal, to come forward. We have a special honor to present this evening regarding our National Merit semifinalists.
If Bronwyn, if you want to come up. Philip, come on up. Come on right up here. So I want to congratulate seniors Bronwyn Downey and Philip Kazantsev on being named semifinalists in the 2026 National Merit Scholarship Competition. Out of 1.3 million juniors that took the PSAT last year, which is a qualifier for the National Merit Scholarship Competition, they are two of approximately 16,000 students nationwide to be named semifinalists. The nationwide pool of semifinalists, representing less than 1% of U.S. high school seniors, includes the highest scoring entrants in each state. The number of semifinalists in a state is proportional to the state's percentage of the national total of graduating seniors. Semifinalists will be notified in February if they advance to the finalist level and have the opportunity to earn national merit scholarships of $2,500 or corporate or college-sponsored scholarships. And on top of, and I got to say on the side, on top of strong scholarship, Bronwyn and Philip are two of the genuinely nicest people that we have here and are influential members of our school community. They are. So I'm proud as principal to introduce them to you as National Merit semifinalists for Hunterdon Central. Congratulations. We're going to go over there.
Congratulations again, Bronwyn and Philip. And I agree, you are two of the nicest people here at Hunterdon Central. And we're really proud of you all. Thank you so much. Okay, a little in opposite direction, we also have a HIB and suspension report on the agenda. You're still seeing the there was no easy segue into that. You are still seeing the 24-25 HIB report. This will be the last month. It's still on because we affirmed the final HIB from 24-25 last month. So, so moving forward, we'll only see this current school year. Lastly, before I hand it back to Lisa, I wanted to extend an invitation to everyone here and to everyone on our live stream to participate in our strategic planning process. Our strategic plan will set the vision and goals for our district for the next 5 years. It is so important that we have all voices represented: students, staff, parents and families, community members, and business partners. Our first meeting is on October 8th at 6 p.m., and all information can be found on our website under quick links. I hope you will join us. Thank you for your patience and attention to tonight's long report, and I will pass it over to you, Lisa.
All right, thank you. So at this time, we will move into our first public residence forum. I just want to remind everyone that this is only for action items on the agenda. Care Plus and school-based is not on the agenda. I also want to remind you that there are rules for public speaking that are on the agenda every single month, and I'm going to just add a couple of my own comments. We fully support everyone's First Amendment right to speak and be heard. That applies to every member of this community. However, it has become increasingly clear that our public discourse is becoming unacceptable. Personal attacks, name-calling, and public shaming have become far too common, particularly towards board members who are serving in good faith. These kinds of accusations and insults, including being called Nazis, white Christian nationalists, book banners, bigots, racists, and worse, are not just offensive, they are deeply harmful to the civility we should all be working to create. This type of behavior only creates division, us versus them, me versus you, right versus wrong. It does not move us forward. It discourages community participation, stifles respectful debate, and creates a hostile environment, not only for the board members, but for students, staff, and parents who are watching and listening. Is this really the culture we want in our schools? One where disagreement is met with vilification? Are inclusion and belonging only extended to those who think alike? Last year, during our superintendent search, we held a student focus group. One of the strongest messages we heard from students was the desire for diversity of thought. Clearly, we have work to do. There is a growing intolerance for differing viewpoints that runs counter to everything we're trying to build. We are in election season. Let's hold ourselves to a higher standard. All too often, we see community members tearing others down. Attacking individuals with false allegations and unsubstantiated claims isn't courageous, it's destructive. It doesn't tell us anything meaningful about the target. It tells us everything about the person making the accusation. Let's encourage public discourse that is rooted in ideas, not insults. We still have work to do. We can do better, and I hope and pray we do. With that said, last month the board was forced to adjourn into recess due to the lack of decorum during public comment. Individuals who interrupt others, become aggressive or loud, or fail to adhere to to proper decorum will be asked to leave the meeting. Thank you. So with that, I will open up the first public session. Please be reminded that this is for only action items on the agenda. If you start talking about something that's not an action item, you're going to have to wait until the final session. All right? So with... you think so? Is everyone okay with moving to 3 minutes because we have quite a few people? Yeah, how many people are up there? Just 6 people? Okay. All right, so just state your name and your municipality. Thank you.
My name is Melissa Stager. I live in Raritan Township, and I'm here tonight to talk about the academies that you have going on. I am the proud parent of 2 Hunterdon Central graduates, one who is in Round Valley. He's in Raritan Valley Community College studying nursing, and another who's at the University of Georgia. And I'm just here tonight to say that the decisions that the board and the administration make have a lasting impact. And let me tell you what I mean. When I taught at Central, and it was in 2001, a long time ago, at that time that we did not allow freshmen to take AP classes. My son, who is now going to University of Georgia, was able to go there with 60 credits. That is not only a savings to the family, it's a testament to the education that he received here at Central. So I'm incredibly proud because the decisions that we make as a board, as a community, and as a staff have a lasting impact. So I just wanted to say it's great to see more academies going forward, and thank you so much for the work being done to move our students forward because that's the most important thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Edmund McLaughlin. I'm from Delaware Township. Pardon my outburst. I apologize for that earlier. I surprised myself even. I don't know if this is an action item on the agenda, but this is an item on the agenda. I have a request with respect to the public comments themselves. I know that conventionally we have a 30-minute public comment period. I think that there are a lot of folks here this evening that would like to make comments. I know that the board values input from parents and from the community, so I would respectfully ask if you could extend the 30-minute period. and allow folks to have the opportunity to make their public comments, even if it goes over even if it goes over 30 minutes. Ms. Santangelo, I recall just a few years ago that yourself and members of your church group attended a meeting, and
So, Mr. McLaughlin, I'm sorry.
I think I have 3 minutes, right?
Yeah, but again, it's not an action item, so if you want to make that quick request, but this is going beyond that.
Right. So I guess what I'm saying is that, that your group was extended the courtesy. I think you had about an hour and a half of commentary.
So we
period.
will take that into consideration.
So yes, I'm asking you for the same
Right.
consideration. Thank
Okay.
you very much. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Rachel White, Raritan Township. I was disappointed in the Board of Education for not answering my email from September 4th, which was sent to the board president directly along with the full board. I would appreciate it if the board attorney would explain tonight how the taxpayers are supposed to communicate with the board if they refuse to respond at meetings and also refuse to respond to official correspondence. How can the board serve the community if they don't even speak to its constituents? Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't want to fall on your podium. Hi, my name is Leah Klein. I am a Flemington Borough resident. I am the parent of a college sophomore and a senior here at Hunterdon Central. And we have had the most amazing experience here at Hunterdon Central. The staff go beyond how they care about the students. Everyone from the coaches to your amazing guidance program has steered my children in the perfect direction. I do, and I want to thank Mr. Rupp. I think I saw him here. He has been life-changing for my child. But I just want to keep in mind that, but my children are very different, and my second child needs all of the extensive services that they give to students who struggle, and he will always struggle, and I'm so proud of him for how he comes every day and tries to do the things that, are available to him, but we really need to be mindful of the extreme challenges that some of our students have that go beyond and may need services that I'm just not entirely sure we're providing right now for mental health services. So thank you for listening to me. Thank you for the great work that you do. Thank you for serving. And please protect our children.
Thank you. Okay.
Hi, Reverend Vernon Williams, Raritan Township. First, I want to congratulate Central in the activation of the magnet programs, and to Dr. Hastings and the great job that they are doing. I stand before you as one who had a similar experience in my high school. I had something akin to the architectural design magnet, and now I stand here as a bachelor's of mechanical engineering. And that was birthed out of that work. I also want to, in their absence, congratulate Alexis Chin on being selected as the new board rep, and to welcome back our board rep of Browen Downing. However, I was also reviewing the board goals that are being proposed in tonight's agenda. What is striking to me is that the proposed goals are missing ideas of the current 24-25 board goals. The current goals have a section titled Effectiveness, Preparation, Time Management, and Communication. I think it important that I emphasize that last component of communication. In the last paragraph of that section, it states, the board will work towards more effective intra-board communications, including but not limited to productive and efficient committee structure and accessible exchanges of information. I'm assuming that the board leadership in previous years thought that communication among board members and committees needed to be improved upon, but now you have removed that stated goal. We have seen with this board this year that communication among board members and committees have been significantly curtailed. The current board goals include a section titled Building Trust. That section states, the board will work to ensure that all members' voices are heard and considered through a process of honest and open communication and mutual respect. What once was a standard of open board communication during board meetings has been thoroughly undermined by this board in the form of no board comments and limited board interaction before the public. So much so, at an earlier meeting this year, on the record, that we have seen you, Madam President, storm out of a board meeting in protest of one of your colleagues who wanted simply to congratulate the students on a great job that he had done on a performance. Such conduct belies the proposed board goal of open communication and mutual respect, in which the proposed goals state, model professionalism and respect in every interaction, and will be mindful that individuals can disagree while still behaving with civility. Why must we wait until the 25-26 board to begin modeling this behavior? I challenge you to begin tonight. The culture and environment of a board of education should be a model for students, staff, and parents. We can and we must do better now. Thank you.
Good evening, Scott Cohen, Raritan Township. I too want to echo the sentiments and congratulate Dr. Hastings on a phenomenal job with with Central's Academy program. I think it's stellar. I'm super stoked to see the growth of the program, and I appreciate the administration and the board's support of continuing to encourage our students to advance and excel in the ways we expect at Hunterdon Central. So thank you for that. And thank you to the students who came to speak about the richness of the programs and what it's done for them personally. It's absolutely amazing. So tonight I'm here before you to talk about the district goals. At the August 18th Board of Ed meeting, the board presented its rough goals without any specific measurements. We know that. We know that they were a work in progress. We know that the outcomes are now displayed in the minutes and the agenda. And I'm glad to see that that work has moved forward. Yet the goals appear to be more compliance-based than visionary or aspirational against Central's mission statement. And I applaud Dr. Cangelosi-Hayes' comment about that this isn't just where the work ends, that there's deeper, richer work that's going to occur beneath the goals that are listed. The concerns I have, and I know this work will be done because I can entrust the administration at Central to take care of this, but there were some gaps that I just want to elevate and bring forward so that we make sure that this good work continues. There were no real serious goals to address the following. There's not one goal or measure focused on supporting Central staff or staff development. I think that's a significant miss. If we don't develop the staff, and it may be inherently embedded in the wording and the construct of the goals, and I know that work will continue because we see PD and other things on the agendas, but not to have it as a district goal, I think, is a miss. Nothing around expanding opportunities for professional development for the faculty and staff focused on instructional practices and student needs. I did also not see one goal or measure focused around ensuring equitable access to high-quality education and support services for the diverse student population that continues to grow and expand across our community, addressing the various needs of Central's diverse learning populations and measures to support those. This includes Central special education students, our marginalized communities, and more specifically, our Latino community, given the significant reduction and in some cases elimination of title funding for the coming year. Nor is there any goal around fostering sort of a more inclusive school community. There's elements of student voice, but not necessarily the inclusiveness of the larger community. I also didn't see one goal or measure promoting student wellness by creating supportive environments and solutions that address social, emotional skills and mental health for all students. Rather, there is simply a measure to have a revised listing of resources posted on the website. I did not see one goal or measure that focuses on the continuous strengthening of innovation, technology integration, and STEAM initiatives, even though we did hear about the growth of the Magnet program to prepare our students for college and career and other readiness. Rather, there is only a measure for a communication and marketing plan to increase awareness of the existing programs. Lastly, I did not see one goal or measure around enhancing curriculum articulation and alignment across grade levels to ensure continuity and readiness from middle school to high school. So I understand that this work will likely happen and is going to occur. I just am concerned that at the highest level of district goals, that not seeing this, but seeing a goal around the use, where was it here? Plan to develop to provide students with access to 85% of mechanically operable bathrooms throughout the entirety of every school day and implement the plan no later than January of this year. I don't even understand what that means. I would hope that every student does have access to a bathroom that's working. That would be an expectation in any school. So I'm concerned on some of the measures that they're not really that aspirational level, but rather that we're addressing things that in a normal operation of a facility, one should expect to occur and not have it as a district measure. So, and lastly, I just have concerns of really expecting or relying or I don't know what, that the board understands some of the terminology in the goals. So
I'm sorry, Mr.
thank you
Cohen.
for your time.
Thank you. I want to remind everybody that they should be writing their name and municipality on the.
We did.
You did?
Yes,
Okay, very
yes.
good. Thank you.
Okay, Madam President, and also the rest of the board, Matt Call, longtime resident here. I live in Flemington, Raritan Township. 2 kids. One's a senior now. My other one's graduated, and I have 2 still to come. So 4 children coming through Central. I come today representing 245 youth athletes in the area and 55 coaches, and I'm the league representative for Central Youth Football. Looking to, the strategic plan that you had mentioned. We also submitted the email on the line as well with all of our details supporting. We're privy to some information around a multi-field expansion project potential here at Central. We 100% are endorsing this initiative. We need the continued growth for the athletics in the community as well. And we feel, we have some state-of-the-art areas, but we're very much behind given when you go and visit other schools to see where they are with their complexes and things like that. So we're asking today to be a part of that strategic 5-year initiative. We would like to support that, to continue that. And also if there is a subcommittee that would kick off the initiative to study further in details that expansion project, we would like to be part of that as well. The reason behind it, it's not just about, football fields for the kids. It's so much bigger than that, getting the kids out playing athletics. It brings the community together. I heard a lot of, and I've coached a lot of the board's kids here as well too, and I've heard a lot of stress around mental health and things like that. But activities, getting the kids out, bringing the communities together. We see Friday nights here. We know what it's like, so we want to continue that. We have really grown our program. You heard the numbers I reported out. We've started very small. And Casey Ransone came in, and he's been very pivotal with the youth organization, growing our numbers, bringing us to a standard that we are. But now we are, if I just talk about expenses, if we charge $250 a kid, basically we're paying more than half of their registration fees just to run diesel generators blowing fumes out in the wind and all the different things that we have to go and cobble our fields together just to host our kids. So I know these would be the high school multi-use fields with the long-term vision from me. Yes, I would love to be able to organize to get on those fields to run youth athletics as well. So thank you for your time and look forward to hearing back.
All right, thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Chad Maurer. I'm in Reddington Township, White House Station. I have 2 children, one who's graduated 2 years ago, is in university now, one who's a senior. I had a question. I was looking through some of the bylaws, specifically P6220, which is the budget prep bylaw, and it looked like there was a rather substantial change, which was the board. It was the removal of the line that said the board shall also provide for community input during the budget development process. It looks like that was struck twice from the policy. There was mention about inspection. It looks like that language was preserved, but to me, inspection is likely substantially different from input. So I was very curious as to why that was done. The other part was the first strike in the document, which was, so it was, let's see, the annual budget is a financial plan for the effectuation of the educational plan for the district. The following continuation of that sentence was struck. Its preparation is therefore one of the most important functions performed by the Board of Education. So I was curious why the board's thinking is that the creation or preparation of the budget is not one of the most important functions, if not the most important function of the board. Because to me, it seems like all of your goals and targets, the budget is the vehicle by which those are achieved. So to me, it seems like that is the most important thing that you guys are doing, because that's how you're likely going to accomplish many, if not all, of your goals. The other question I had was on another bylaw, which was in terms of disruption. I think it was 5560. The second paragraph, it listed out what the definition of a disruptive student was. It seemed 3 of the 4 criteria there were rather subjective. The only one that seemed evidence or empirical based was a pattern of behavior. I think it was that was not in conformance to policy and or regulation, I believe is, I'm paraphrasing a little bit there. But since the point I'm getting to there is these things often will lead to some sort of disciplinary action. So as a parent, I would expect that you have quantifiable or fact-based reasons as to why a disciplinary action is being taken, as opposed to the rather subjective language that's in the policy itself. So my ask is to go back into that paragraph, see if it could be tightened up so that you're actually making decisions based off of factual, evidence-based reasons and not really relying upon subjective analysis. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Thank you, everyone. We're going to close out the first public session and move on to organizational items, which is our Board of Education goals and our district goals. So I would like to move and get a second on those 2 items. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right. Yeah, so we can, if anyone would like to make a comment on that action item, they can do that. So go ahead, Ellen.
So I looked at the board goals. Unfortunately, I did not have an opportunity to look at the board goals because they were only actually posted in our email with 4 days to post, and I don't read my board email every single day, and so I didn't know it was coming up, and so I wasn't looking for it. I'm not happy with what has been listed, and I think those are all really great and important goals that are there. There's no question. I have no problem with them, but I have a problem with some of the ways that I have been ignored or actually attacked by other board members, and that there's really a lack of expertise that I am aware of in creating district goals. And so there's some things in here about expertise and about communication that I feel isn't really happening. There was no communication with the returning board members to me, for example, the president, or some of the other board members, about how the boards are run or anything like that. No one had any interest in speaking to me pretty much about anything except a couple of other people, and I appreciate that they did. And I really feel like the board, these are really not goals. These are like the way we should be towards each other. And I do think that we generally are very respectful towards each other during the meeting, and we try to continue with this, but I do feel as though these are not really goals. So I just wanted to make that statement.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have any comments on the action item?
I would just like to note that typically the way this has happened in the other years that I've been on the board is that the board develops visionary goals and then the district goals follow from that. So this process has been very different for me, and I will agree with some of the commentary that these are lovely goals, but I'm not sure that they are up to the task.
Okay. Anyone else? Sandra?
Yeah, the district goals are much better, so I will be approving them. So thank you to the editors for district goals. But I also still volunteer to help edit things, but no one ever gets back to me. On the board goals, however, I wish that we could discuss as a board what the goals are, that we could discuss the input, and again, that didn't happen, so I won't be approving the board goals.
Okay. Anyone else?
If there's going to be, okay, now it's on, an allegation that someone has attacked you, I hope that during executive session you'll share with us so that we can be aware of what you're talking about.
Excuse me, I think you were at the meeting where it happened.
I have,
It happened in an executive committee meeting where no basis and I was attacked. Okay, so we don't have to discuss it here.
that's why I said executive session, because I think when you say something like that in the public, it could damage the board.
Excuse me, it shouldn't have been said. It shouldn't have been said. It shouldn't. There was no basis, and it shouldn't have been said. The lawyer should have stopped it. It shouldn't have happened.
Okay.
Okay, no idea what she's talking about. But
Yeah, okay.
anyway, on the district goals, yes, I agree with the public in that it should be a given that students have access to all of the bathrooms throughout the day. They don't. They have not for years. If you go back to 2023, when Principal Brandt did the Thorns and Flowers presentation about the feedback he got from the students interviewed during the Climate and Culture Survey, access to bathrooms was something that was on there then. It's been on there. It was the most frequently discussed thing in the student responses to the Climate and Culture Survey. We heard from students that they are having medical issues due to not being able to use the bathroom. So I know it's an odd goal to have, but at some point, when you have students who are afraid to go to the bathroom or who can't use it because it's always locked or because there's not enough teachers there being there to help, to leave it open for them, that becomes a basic necessity that I do think we have to address. So I know it might sound kind of like a silly goal. I hope, that the students can appreciate we're actually being responsive to that need that has been talked about for year after year after year, because it really does need to be addressed. There's a lot of information here, and I appreciate the community feedback, the staff feedback, and the student feedback, and these goals are really responsive to a lot of those things that we heard the most. And I think it's really demoralizing if you ask for feedback and don't address it. So these are some of the biggest things that the community, both inside and outside of the school, have been telling us that they need. And so working with the administration to come up with some of these, some of the responses weren't feasible, some of the things had to change on the fly. But, and yeah, we can't cover every single goal and every single item, but these are really addressing some of the issues that, triage. There are some things that really have to be said and some things that we have trust in the administration to carry out on a day-to-day basis. As far as the board goals, thank you to the people who participated. They are very similar to last year's. We ended up basically recycling last year's, I think, the year before, because the superintendent was brand new. So we didn't really get an opportunity to develop them. Yeah, we just kind of pushed back the 2023 goals into 2024. So it is good to see these goals ready for the new year. So thank you.
All right, anyone else have any comments?
I also would just like to say that not everyone participated in supporting reaching out about board goals. So I would like to thank those who did do the work for board goals.
Thank you. All right, anyone else?
I just want to say that I did participate in board goals, but the first goal is really just taken from our board handbook. And again, I would just want to emphasize, or at least encourage us, if we have another project like that, that we can actually work together as a board to get input from each other.
Well, I think that we did get input from everyone. It's just that sometimes we can't all meet in extra meetings, right? So based on our schedules, so that's why we did it that way. In fact, I actually think the process lent itself to giving us more time to contemplate and exchange information. All the information was available to everyone. It was in the Google Drive, accessible to everyone. So I actually think the process, despite the fact that we couldn't have a special retreat or meeting, worked out really well, and everybody could have participated if they chose to. So thank you for the comments. With that, we will ask for a roll call.
Ms. Gong?
Yes on district goals, no on board goals.
Ms. Gray?
Yes.
Dr. Halpern?
Yes on district goals, no on board goals.
Mrs. Kellogg?
Yes.
Ms. Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mrs. Rothel?
Yes.
Mrs. Duggan?
Yes.
And Mrs. Santangelo?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. All right, next up, we're going to read out our committee reports. Student Life and Program Committee is usually read out by Leslie LaCosta, who is not here tonight, so I will do that for her. The Student Life and Programs Committee met on September 17th. In attendance were Sue Duggan, Leslie LaCosta, Rebecca Peterson, Jessica Cangelosi-Hade, Dee Dee Dietra, Matt Hall, and myself. The committee discussed new state-approved evaluation options for highly effective tenured teachers. These give staff the chance to grow through activities like action research or leading professional development and will be piloted on a voluntary basis. We reviewed out-of-district placements to ensure students with specialized needs receive the right support and reaffirm our annual commitment to the McKinney-Vento program to assist students experiencing homelessness. And finally, we reviewed the district professional development plan, focusing on aligning staff growth with district goals and student achievement. So with that, I would like to move items 1 through 4. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any comments on those action items?
So I was very surprised to see the in the minutes of the Student Life and Program Committee that apparently the Student Life and Program Committee has been given the power to decide what professional development opportunities our teachers can participate in. There was particular concern over the Salem witch trial continuing education because it included content on gender identity, sexuality, race, and class issues that are related to the Crucible play, which is taught at the school. And then there was an agreement that the workshops would need to focus on math, science, and general education, as well as a discussion that emphasized the importance of improving the process for reviewing professional development opportunities. So because of that, I went back and looked at what our board policy is, and it specifically says that the committee shall be provided with a list of functions and duties, and then the committee may make recommendations to the board for action, but they may not act for the board. So then I went back to our handbook and looked to see what the Student Life and Program Committee is supposed to be doing, and it says it reviews initiatives and status and recommends policy and action related to curriculum, extra and co-curricular activities, as well as professional growth and development, special and counseling services, community partnerships, and all other matters as they relate to the educational mission and goals of the district. So I guess what I would like to know is, when did our Student Life and Program Committee get the power to decide what continuing education the teachers are allowed to access? And then when do they also get the power to decide what the curriculum is? Because there's another item on here specific to Teen Pep and the changes to that curriculum that were made by the board.
So I hate to disappoint you, but first of all, the minutes were actually not accurate. So that's number one. Number two, those courses that you're talking about are not on the agenda item to be approved. That does not require board approval. So the items that are on the agenda are under personnel. We're going to put those up for a vote. So the ones you're referring to do not require a board vote.
So you're telling me that Dr. Hall, who prepared these minutes, inaccurately recorded the fact that the members of the Student Life and Program Committee rejected specifically continuing education.
I will tell you
because
that.
I believe that there were communications made to people outside of this board that are operable.
So I'm just going to interject in terms of talking about individual staff members and what they may or may not have done, and any evaluator, I'd advise you to steer away from that. Certainly you can talk about the process and whatnot, but talking about individual staff members' conduct or any criticism or accolades should be avoided.
I guess I will note that the author on the minutes was a specific staff member.
Okay. Well, part of that process was not followed. And regardless, though, those courses are happening. So teachers are taking those courses that you're referencing, and the board does not have to vote on those.
I understand that the board doesn't have to vote on them, but apparently the board never had to vote on them because the committee was doing the work behind the scenes without getting approval of the board. And that's the part that concerns me. To me, that seems like you're directing staff, and that would be an ethical violation.
So everything we do, because of the scrutiny that we're under, is cleared by board counsel. So board counsel is aware of everything that goes on. And so we're not out of none of the stuff that you're talking about is accurate, Dee. Thank you, though. I appreciate that.
Again, I didn't write it in the minutes. This isn't, I'm not accusing, I am, thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay. Anyone else have any comments? All right. We'll take a roll call.
Ms. Gray?
Yes.
Dr. Halpern?
Yes.
Mrs. Kellogg?
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mrs. Rothel?
Yes.
Mrs. Duggan?
Yes.
Ms. Gong?
Yes.
And Mrs. Santangelo?
Yes.
Oh, yes, motion carries.
Thank you. All right. Jessica Rothwell will take the Operations and Transportation Committee.
The Operations and Transportation Committee met on Wednesday, September 24th. Sandra Gong, Lisa Santangelo, Jessica Cangelosi-Hade, Heather Spitzer, and I were in attendance. Items 1 through 7 and 9 through 18 are standard organizational items that are approved annually or monthly in order to conduct the day-to-day business of the district. We are accepting with gratitude a donation of a MacBook for our yearbook committee from Jostens Yearbook Company. We are also seeking approval for 4 new professional services contracts that will be used as needed to support district needs in a timely and efficient manner. With that, I would like to move items 1 through 19.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any comments on the action items?
Yes. I think I've been told once or twice that the invoices aren't up for approval, but just for my information. My concern is that the invoices show several hours, at least in August, almost 5 hours of conversations between the board attorney on the topic of governance. You can do the math. I've asked what constitutes board governance. I'm a member of the ONT committee, but haven't received much information. I'm curious, and I want to learn more about governance. I understand that Mr. Trent represents the full board. He is discussing board governance, and so I'd like to learn more about it. There's a lot of money being paid to our board attorney in these discussions. Today, I actually called NJSBA. It's a free service that's open to board members, and you can ask the board attorney of the day lots of questions. So I'm encouraging our board attorney to share with the full board what gets discussed. I'm not asking you to reveal anything publicly. I'm not asking you to reveal anything that's confidential. I'm just asking, as a member of the board, I'd like to benefit from Mr. Trent's experience and advice. I have one vote on this board, and I would like to use it wisely. Additionally, as we were talking about minutes, the current O&T committee minutes as of this afternoon do not reflect some of my comments. I would hope, again, that they be reflected to include some of my comments from the meeting.
All right, any other comments? I'll take a roll call.
Dr. Halpern?
Yes.
Mrs. Kellogg?
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes on everything, but abstain on item I3, check number 83595.
83595.
Yes, on that one I will recuse. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Rothel?
Yes.
Mrs. Duggan?
Yes.
Ms. Gong?
Yes.
Ms. Gray?
Yes.
Ms. Gray?
Yes.
Sorry. And Mrs. Santangelo?
Yes.
All yes. I didn't hear it.
All right, thank you. Next up is our Personnel Committee. It was held on Wednesday, September 24th. In attendance was Jessica Cangelosi-Haight, David Bailey, Marianne Stokes, Heather Spitzer, Claudia Gray, and myself. We discussed action items related to resignations, appointments of various positions, professional development, amendments, leaves of absences, as indicated on tonight's agenda. I just want to note that with regard to item 13, professional development, that each board member should abstain from their personal professional development for the New Jersey School Board Association Conference. If you want to take a quick note, Sue, your number is 9. Sandra, your number is 13. Ellen, your number is 15. Becky, your number is 24. And Jessica, yours is 28. And you will see all the... So you want to help her? Yeah, okay. All right, so with that, I would like to move items 1 through 22. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comments on the action items? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Any comments on the action items? All right. So roll call, please.
Yes. Mrs. Kellogg?
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson?
Okay, yes to all items with the exception of J13, item number 24.
Thank you. Mrs. Rothel?
Yes, with the exception of item number 28 in action item J13.
Mrs. Duggan?
Yes, with the exception of J13, number 9.
Thank you. Ms. Gong?
Yes, with the exception of J13, number 13.
Ms. Gray?
Yes.
Dr. Halpern?
Yes, with the exception of J13, number 15.
And Mrs. Santangelo?
Yes, with the exception of item J13, number 31.
31. Motion carries.
Thank you very much, Heather, for that. All right, next up is the Policy Committee. Becky?
Okay, we have 13 policies on for first read. Aside from the regular policy manual review, we had an update from our policy vendor, Strauss Esme. So with that, we have all 12 of the 13 were updates from Strauss Esme, including some in the 6,000, which was part of our manual review. There's a little confusion on one of them, 0141.3, board member number of term. They have broken that out from the original 0141. So 0141.3 will be replacing 0141, so you will see 0141 on for abolishment. I will note that these are all first reads, and the committee can certainly change things. So I would ask the individual who spoke earlier, who had questions specifically, I couldn't quite follow what you were specifically talking about in the budget presentation one. If you could send us an email, that would be really helpful. And then, you know, some of the wording was taken out by Strauss Esme, but you know, I'd like to, I couldn't quite follow everything that was being suggested. And like I said, this is a first read. They go through a second read. We have policy 0157, Hunterdon Central Regional High School website. That is a policy that we actually started talking about back in January, I believe, to update and increase the amount of information available on the district's website, including board docs, so that we get a lot of OPRA requests, and when there's information on the website and in board docs, thanks to a change in the OPRA law, we can refer people to the board docs and that information rather than utilizing the administrative and legal time associated with responding to those OPRA requests. We have first read for abolish. We have 4 items that are, the 3 of them are outdated and non-Strauss Esme that have information that is covered in other policies. And then we have our second reads for adoption and second reads for abolishment that we did not receive any questions about. There was a question about disruptive students. We do have a code of conduct which very specifically lays out specific conduct which is actionable. So the language of the policy, we also have the code of conduct that is quite specific. So that should hopefully alleviate any concerns on that. So with that, I will move items 1 through 4. I'll second.
I'm sorry. Okay. Any comments on the action items?
Yes, go ahead. So on bylaw 0177, professional services, it just, and I'm sorry, policy 6220, budget prep, it just seems like we are adding a lot of language and adding a lot of work to our already overworked staff. Specifically for policy 6220, there is a policy alert from Strauss Esme, and it just seems that we don't need all of this additional language. So I will not vote for the first read on bylaw 0177, professional services, or policy 6220, budget prep. You know, we go through a lot of meetings in terms of our budget preparation every year. And what I also hear at the end of our budget prep and at the end of our budget presentations are actually a lot of compliments and kudos for our business administrator. So I am really reluctant to add much more work onto our business administrator or her staff. Thank you.
All right. Do you had a comment?
I had a similar question as to what the level of effort was going to be that was required for, you know, the changes in 6220 as well as 0117. So I will just ask the committee to consider that for next month.
Yes, so you can send us an email with that, right, with the question?
Sure, I'll put it in an email, although that didn't work so well last month, so.
Well, maybe it'll work this month. Thank you. We'll see. All right. Any other comments? All right, can we get a roll call, please?
Actually, I just want to, sorry, the last moment there. Just, you know, clearly there's a lot of focus, attention, you know, that the board, in what we know and what we don't know about what's in the budget. I know the O&T committee gets a full rundown of the budget. I was on it last year, and I appreciated that. However, what the rest of the board gets is what is publicly presented. So there are some, obviously this year we have found some gaps in the process, and we're going to be expected to know information in depth, and so we need to have the information to make those appropriate calls.
All right, thank you. Can I get a roll call now?
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mrs. Rothel?
Yes.
Mrs. Duggan?
Yes.
Ms. Gong?
Yes, with the exception of K1, number 5, bylaw 0174, professional services, and number 13, policy 6220, budget preparation.
Ms. Gray?
Yes.
Dr. Halpern?
Yes.
Mrs. Kellogg?
Yes, with the exception of items K1, number 13, policy 6220.
And Mrs. Santangelo?
Yes.
All yes, motion.
Thank you. All right, and finally, we have our additional business. I don't know if there's any liaison reports. I don't think so. But as far as additional board business, is there anything anyone wants to recommend to put in a committee?
I was going to say this is a positive comment, so bear with me. There has been quite a bit of newspaper coverage about Flemington Raritan and how much federal funding they have lost. And I just want to really appreciate Heather and her staff, because the amount of federal funding that Hunterdon Central has lost is almost negligible, and I think that that's really just huge kudos to you guys and the job that you do and the attention to detail that you have. So thank you very, very much.
Does anyone want to see anything added to the committee for next month? Okay. All right. With that, we will finish the agenda items, and we will move to our final residence forum. So I think what we're going to do is extend the 30 minutes as requested. We'll add an additional 20 minutes, and we'll have the limit to be 3 minutes per speaker. Just ask that you write your name and your municipality.
Do you need a motion for that?
No, I asked Kyle.
There you go.
Oh, okay. All right, never mind. So Kyle just wants us to do a motion on extending it 20 minutes and reducing from 5 minutes to 3 minutes. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor? We could just do it easy. All right.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. That's all right. All right.
Ready to go?
Yep, ready.
Ted Huff, Raritan Township. So I'm not here to criticize the board or any members of the board in any way, but rather to make a plea. So in March of 2023, 2.5 years ago, a board member was criticized from the floor by a local resident for making posts on Twitter that appeared to this resident and other members of the public as exemplifying hate speech. The board met in executive session 5 days later and determined that this post and other actions that need not concern us here amounted to a violation of the board's ethics. At the April 2023 public board meeting, it was announced in public that an ethics violation charge was going to be sent to the State Ethics Commission against this board member. And this was done finally in September of 23, 2 years ago. So instead of making her case to the SEC, as it's called, the board member as well decided to sue her own Board of Education. This case has now gone on for over 2 years, 2.5 years. Indeed, most of the board that made the ethics violation complaint in 2023 is long gone. So the board member is no longer even suing those she thinks wronged her. But the most important thing here is the money, the cost of this lawsuit. It is costing the taxpayers in this audience and the parents of Hunterdon Central School District tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars so far, eventually, when all is said and done. Just this year's budget saw a $75,000 to $125,000 a year increase in legal expenses for the board. It's rumored that the board member has already rejected an offer from the board of $85,000 to make this all go away. Who can tell what the final number might be if the board member prevails? Meanwhile, and this is even more important, at the last board meeting, although it wasn't brought up by the president today, at the last board meeting, it was voted to discontinue mental health care for the school's students, which is indefensible in any case, but the board members who voted to end the program explicitly at that board meeting justified their opposition, citing budgetary concerns. Parenthetically, there were no budgetary issues because the program had already been budgeted and funded. But in addition, all those who voted against had voted for just a year earlier. So, if money really is the issue, and there are doubts about that, but if money really is, I implore the board member who's suing the board to please just drop the suit. So the district's tax dollars can be reallocated from legal fees used to counter your now multiple lawsuits, and of course, away from whatever settlement is ultimately reached should the board lose.
I'm sorry.
Or calculate, it is
Mr.
cheaper
Hub,
to pay you off.
Your time
hey,
is
when
up.
I was attacked here 3 months ago, you didn't stop him from going over time a minute and a half.
Listen, excuse me. All right, we're going to have security
I have
ask
one
you to
sentence.
leave.
I have
No,
one sentence.
You're going to leave. I'm
Please
sorry.
instead place the interests of the high school students over your own material interests.
If you're not going to
Thank you
follow
very
the process, you need to leave. I'm just going to tell everybody now, if you're going to go over your time, you're going to be asked to leave. It's not fair to everyone else that adheres to the rules.
Nikki Bryce, Raritan Township. My husband and I moved to Raritan Township in 2012 when our children were only babies, so that one day they could attend Hunterdon Central Regional High School, a national blue ribbon school with a fantastic reputation for a high-quality education. Those children are now a senior and a freshman here at Central. I've been attending school board meetings here for over 3 years since my now senior was in 8th grade at J.P. Case. I've seen a change in board members as terms expire and new members are elected. I've seen changes in board leadership as the board president and board vice president are chosen at the annual reorganization meeting. And I've seen a change in superintendent after Dr. Moore resigned and Ms. Cangelosi-Hade was hired. This year in particular, I am incredibly alarmed about what I'm seeing in terms of some board actions, behaviors, and decisions. Board members have been silenced at the table. If a board member tries to ask a question, they are interrupted and told to send an email or bring it up in committee, both of which are not public. The board comment section has been removed from meeting agendas, so now there is much less public discourse. Despite public outcry, the board majority seems to vote how they intended to all along, oftentimes against public opinion. Policy 2110, the philosophy of Hunterdon Central Regional High School, was revised to strip away all language describing how to fulfill the school's mission and all language regarding the philosophy itself. The only sentence that remains in Policy 2110, in addition to the mission, is, "It is the expectation of this school district that all pupils achieve the New Jersey student learning standards at all grade levels." This is so underwhelming and disappointing. Where we used to be high achieving and high quality, we now seem to be settling for average. This is not what I was looking for when we chose this school district in 2012. We cannot expect students to achieve academic excellence and increase test scores if we are not considering the overall wellness of the whole child. Your decision 10 days before school started to not renew the Care Plus contract against the recommendation of the superintendent was short-sighted, fiscally irresponsible, opens the district to liability, and could lead to devastating harm to students. You are restricting intellectual freedom by trying to designate which professional development courses teachers are allowed and not allowed to take. You are wasting this district's precious dollars and wasting taxpayers' money with excessive legal fees from
Thank
having an
you.
attorney traveling to and sitting through every single
I'm sorry,
board
your
meeting.
time, excuse me, I'm sorry, your time is up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kathy Lehman, Raritan Township. I am a retired school administrator and special ed teacher. But I am here to respectfully encourage the board to reconsider funding the Care Plus students. They need quality mental health services. I have a family experience, personal, and I'm going to take you back 39 years. My daughter was an entering freshman at Hunterdon Central, and she was struggling. So I decided to go speak to her guidance counselor because that was who, we did not have mental health services then. That was who we went to. So I went to her guidance counselor and just asked her to please introduce herself to my daughter and to check on her because I knew my daughter was experiencing some very severe self-confidence issues. I happened to come home early from work late in October. And when I entered my house, I heard a very strange noise. I found my daughter in a fetal position inside her closet, and she was making statements of self-harm. We were able to get her into Fair Oaks Hospital because at the time, Carrier was full, because back then there was a real high incidence of teenage suicide. When I went back to the guidance counselor to pick up my daughter's work so she could have it at the hospital, I then learned that the guidance counselor had never met my daughter, and she had not sought her out. I do not say this to downgrade any of our guidance counselors. They do magnificent work. But they are so busy doing that magnificent work that, and they do not have the expertise for the mental health as well. So, my daughter is fine. She's a wonderful adult. Sorry, I've lost notes. My fever went ahead of it, okay? Hunterdon Central needs a dedicated mental health source. And I am very fearful that we have started the year without that. And I really think that we need to have a system. Care Plus, from what I understand, there were so many students that relied on it, and so many teachers who were able to get students help through that. Just a few other points.
I'm sorry, your time is up.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Thank you
though.
Thank you for hearing my story.
Rachel White, Raritan Township. I'm not familiar with the board members' professional backgrounds. I don't know if, but I don't know any counselor who would have voted to cut Care Plus and school-based youth services with 10 days going into, like, before the school year starting. And I heard what you said about posting a position and all that other kind of stuff. I don't know, again, if you know anything about caseloads or how many people can be served by one counselor in the course of a short day. I don't know if the person you're bringing in can offer after-hours support. But even right off the bat, you're talking about one counselor replacing 2 full-time counselors and replacing an outsourced service that was an umbrella where you could get psychiatrists, psychologists, and whatever else you needed for medical clearances and things like that, all probably for the cost of like 3 positions, just for the Care Plus part. That's not even the 2 full-time counselors, who I'm guessing you wouldn't have been paying medical benefits for, paid time off, all that other kind of stuff. So again, the math doesn't make sense. But anyway, the decision doesn't align with social work values or the code of ethics. As a licensed social worker who's worked in local nonprofits, I know students in our community struggle with substance use, refusal skills, unrest at home, bullying, self-harm, and suicidal ideation. This is in addition to social and academic pressures that they face. Many community agencies and private practices have long waiting lists and limited capacity, and our nonprofit agencies are also facing potential federal cuts. Our community cannot afford to decrease services that are often the only accessible resource left for Hunterdon Central students. By eliminating these programs, despite public outcry, the recommendations from mental health professionals, teachers, the superintendent, you're showing the students and the community that their needs are not a priority for this Board of Education. High school students today face unprecedented stress, anxiety, depression, all the things. Teachers and administrators and in-house counselors, while they're deeply dedicated, cannot replace the specialized care that these programs provided. You've cut off 2 critical lifelines. Your decision will undoubtedly increase the risk of absenteeism, academic decline, social withdrawal, student harm, and long-term struggles that follow students into adulthood. Protecting student well-being must remain a top priority. It is not a matter of if harm will occur from the loss of these programs, but a matter of when. I urge you to show your commitment to the welfare of our community, reinstate these vital services for the 25-26 school year, and commit to expanding, not reducing, mental health resources for our students. Thank you for your time.
My name is Sarah Trillin. I'm a resident of Delaware Township. I'm the parent of 2 Central graduates. I've also sent an email letter to this board that was not responded to as well, so I guess I wasn't the only person here today. I've been a licensed mental health professional for more than 20 years. I served on the Delaware Township School Board for 3 years while my children were students there, and I'd like to speak tonight about my serious concerns about the process of how the school board is being run. First, I was deeply concerned about the conduct of the board president, Mrs. Lisa Santangelo, during the August meeting. During that meeting, she presented her personal opinion that there are adequate mental health services available to students without the Care Plus program. She based this on the research she said she and another board member had done to compare the services to other high schools and also to assess what other services are currently available to students in this community, although I noticed not whether those services are actually accessible to students in this community. I found Mrs. Santangelo's reference to her degree in psychology particularly troubling, as if that should indicate she was an expert on this topic. There was a total lack of clarity about whether this was a budget issue, which wouldn't make sense. This board already approved the Care Plus contract in June, or whether the problem was that Mrs. Santangelo personally did not approve of these particular services. Despite the fact that these services have been used with good faith and with good experiences in this community for years, and despite the fact that your superintendent recommended them. Second, during the August meeting, 2 board members expressed concerns that some of the school goals they were voting on were incomplete and contained unclear language and no metrics. Their concerns were dismissed, and another board member even reprimanded them for bringing up their concerns. Mrs. Santangelo casually suggested that perhaps the wrong version was sent of the goals without suggesting that the board should hold off on voting on that goal until there was clarification. She was not even willing to amend the language of the motion to reflect that they were working goals and not district goals. As a former school board member, I thought this behavior was shockingly sloppy, unprofessional, and possibly unethical boardmanship. Third, tonight in the reading of the minutes for the Student Life Committee, which was in itself quite shocking, as a board member read the minutes that she was given, and then Mrs. Santangelo said that those were inaccurate, so I don't even know what to make of that. I thought this was another concerning example of a board making decisions behind the scenes and likely going against specific directions in a school board handbook. We heard that a committee took it upon itself to decide which professional development courses teacher could and could not take based on their personal opinion on what was appropriate without bringing that decision to the full board. I think this provides a clear example of a board that is not operating as a body that is making decisions in the best interest of the community it's supposed to serve, but instead making decisions based on the personal opinions of a few members of the board. As a stakeholder in this community, I have lost all faith in this board to govern responsibly or in the best interest of this community. Thank you.
My name is Alexander Rupp, Tewksbury Township, but I teach here at the school. I've been thinking a lot about a riddle. What gets bigger the more that you take away from it? And I'll answer that. But pretty early in my teaching career, and there's never a good time to have this happen to you, let me be clear, but it was too early for me. I lost 2 students to suicide in short succession. And it was after that that we started to input more and more of these programs, including the ones that were stripped. And one of my students we had to consign to ash and the other to the dirt. And the one that we consigned to the dirt, their parents told me and a colleague of mine, Gail Enterline, about the time we bought him. And that was a beautiful statement, but it's a hell of a weight to put on a man. Because it leaves you going, what could I have done more? What could I have done more? Now, that's not a rational thought, but it's a really human one. And these healthcare initiatives we added, they've helped. I've seen them help. And now we remove two. And we can give all the jargon and codes we want, but plain language, I like that better. And if it's not broken, don't fix it. And Care Plus wasn't broken. And we could have kept it, and we could have added these positions that they want to bring in, and that would have made us even stronger. But instead, we took away two with the promise of adding one. That one's not even added yet. And that brings me, because we built, we added, we gave more, and we gave more. But that brings me to what happens. What gets bigger the more you take away from it? A hole. And you have made a hole. And if a child falls through that hole while we strive to fill it, well, we'll know some people who could have done better. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Marissa Static, and I'm from Delaware Township. I moved here several years ago, and this is the first time I've attended a school board meeting here. I'm a little concerned seeing the behavior that is being displayed by the board members. So that is my thing number one. Thing number two, I'm going to reiterate what the past people have said with regards to the mental health services being removed. I can tell you I have 4 children who I have been putting through schools. One will be graduating this year. They have developed such a significant mental health need that we are appropriately seeking outside services. But what happens when those services need to occur within the school day? My child has a need where it seems as if they developed a seizure disorder as a result. It's not. It's a mental health need. So when he needs to have the services piggybacking within the school day, it's something that is lacking within here. That is point number one. Point number two within this, I've not heard anyone bring up concerns about the transportation piece. In Delaware Township, when we moved, our bus time was starting at 6:40, which is pretty early, but oh well. Now it's at 6:20, and that particular child, because of their disabilities, cannot function to get out the door at that time frame. When I called to inquire why there was a difference, I was told that there was a disagreement within some services and a discrepancy between the transportation services. I'm asking and imploring that you look into how to fix this so that way those services could be taken care of. My last thing, I thank you guys for hosting students who are international and exchange students. My family has hosted 2 students. We are on our 2nd student, but we've had a difficult time navigating this year. One of the suggestions that I'm asking is coming from my sister, who also lives in a different area, but had people who had exchange students within their district. Last year, my child who we had wanted to go through a graduation process. It's not something that he would have received where he had come to school, and we were told no. So I understand that you're looking at graduation rates and whatnot, but where my sister goes, the kids are put in whatever grade, and they're allowed to do the senior activities and the different fun things that seniors do, just because it's something that our kids won't be able to experience. So I'm asking if that's something that you guys can do. And with that, I will share as quickly as I can the experience we've had this year. So, okay.
I'm sorry. Thank you, though.
Scott Cohen, Raritan Township, and I agree with the board president's comment that the board's responsibility is not to rubber stamp everything the superintendent brings forward. However, with that said, the superintendent was hired by this board. The superintendent's goals and objectives and review renewed the contract for this current superintendent. I would hope that by the time we get to this place, that when the superintendent brings a recommendation forward, that there's no surprise data presented in a way that suggests the superintendent doesn't understand the need, or doesn't understand the data, or doesn't understand the state of mental health across the country, across the state, and the needs for the school in which the superintendent has been hired to deliver services. So I can't even understand that piece of it at all. What I do want to do tonight is talk about NJ4S, because that's a direction we're moving in, and that's severely disappointing given the differences between NJ4S and Care Plus, despite us looking into hiring a full-time position. The main issue with NJ4S is that it has insufficient clinical capacity, a focus on prevention that leaves many students with intensive needs underserved, and the replacement of established in-school programs. We heard a great detail from an administrator at the last Board of Ed meeting of what Care Plus provides that we can't do internally. The hub and spoke model also creates access barriers for some families and has been criticized for being rolled out without adequate input from schools. They have insufficient capacity. With a high ratio of students to available clinicians, the program cannot provide comprehensive or timely mental health support to all students in need. They have, for students with higher level needs, individual services are often brief, typically 6 to 8 weeks rather than a sustained treatment model. This is intended to teach coping skills and refer students elsewhere, but it is not sufficient for those requiring intensive care. By design, NJ4S is a prevention and early intervention program. It does not address severe mental health concerns or crisis situations, leaving the most vulnerable students to find care elsewhere. The shift from in-school services to regional hubs creates transportation barriers, especially for students and families in some of our more rural areas across the county who have limited access to reliable transport. By moving support away from the school building, the model risks losing the trusted relationships that students often have with our in-house school staff. One school superintendent noted that relationships are essential for effective service, and an inconsistent schedule makes it harder to connect. Thank you.
Sandra DeVore, Raritan Township. I would like to discuss an issue regarding the ethical obligations of board members. On March 20th, 2023, Marianne Rampula made a public allegation against a sitting board member. In response to Ms. Rampula's allegation, the board engaged in a campaign to discredit and remove a board member who was overwhelmingly elected by the voters of Raritan Township, Mrs. Peterson. Also in March of 2023, I made an allegation against then board member Noelle O'Donnell. In response, the board did nothing, or so I thought. That April, the board passed a resolution censuring Mrs. Peterson and sought to have her removed from the board based upon their own false allegations. At that same meeting, Ms. O'Donnell made a tepid apology for her own behavior. Thanks to a recent Oprah request, which has been made the board's public legal bills public, we now know that the board used our district resources to pay the previous board attorney to write Ms. O'Donnell's quote-unquote apology statement. This was at the same time that that same attorney was writing censures of Mrs. Peterson. That is a gross abuse of power. As some of you might remember, in 2023, Ms. Kellogg was the vice president of the board that engaged in this abuse of power. She has continued to make it her mission to try to discredit Mrs. Peterson and devalue the transparent work of the board. She should remember the saying, people in glass houses should not throw stones. In December of 2024, I filed an ethics complaint against Ms. Kellogg with the School Ethics Commission. Unlike the former board, I respected the request of the School Ethics Commission and kept the complaint confidential until the commission made a finding. On September 23, 2025, just 6 days ago, the Ethics Commission found that there are sufficient facts presented in my complaint and Ms. Kellogg's written response to lead a reasonable person to believe that Ms. Kellogg violated the School Ethics Act. That complaint will now move to adjudication. Ms. Kellogg is being defended by the same attorney who prosecuted Mrs. Peterson and protected Ms. O'Donnell. Ms. Kellogg is the first board member in Hunterdon Central history to have an ethics case credit with probable cause. Rather than change the manner in which she conducts herself, since I filed this complaint, Ms. Kellogg has continued to flout her ethical obligations. I am certain we will not hear complaints from Ms. Rampulla about the amount of money Ms. Kellogg's ethics defense is costing the district, and we won't see the letters to the editor calling out Ms. Kellogg's behavior. Apparently, Ms. Rampulla, Ms. Kellogg, and their friends only hold others to standards and never themselves. Thank you.
Trish Roden, Raritan Township. Witnessing the community's behavior at last month's BOE meeting was disappointing, to say the least. People were out of control, making accusations, yelling over the board attorney, and calling people names. Where's the respect for differing viewpoints? Some of the worst behavior I saw was from people looking to gain a seat on this board. Mrs. Wallace has been seen in the video interrupting the board attorney and yelling from the audience, forcing the board to have to take a recess due to the loss of decorum. Another candidate, Mr. Williams, alleged he was shocked that the board member did not know that Care Plus was in the budget. He found it reprehensible, a word he uses against members of the board. Ms. Kellogg made a similar claim on Facebook. However, when a member of the public asked Ms. Kellogg, where is the budget presentation for Care Plus information can be found, she never responded. I looked at the budget presentation for myself. I didn't see mention of Care Plus. People should not make baseline claims that can't be backed up. Also, I recently saw a letter to the editor of Tap Into, written by Mrs. Rampulla. Mrs. Rampulla was sitting on the Board of Elections, served as a campaign manager for a board member, Sandra Gong, which wreaked a conflict of interest. Ms. Rampulla has apparently moved on from Ms. Gong to be official campaign treasurer for Mrs. Wallace, Vernon Williams, and Nikki Price. Like Mrs. Rampulla, the Wallace, Williams, and Bryce campaign likes to focus on legal bills. What is clear from the legal records and from previous decisions of the School Ethics Commission is that Ms. Kellogg and the previous board acted beyond what a board is allowed to do. Additionally, it is clear that the former board attorney worked with Ms. Kellogg and only certain board members against Mrs. Peterson, while actively defending other board members. It seems that some people on the board and others who frequent these meetings are not actually here seeking to prove good faith input. Instead, their focus appears to be trying to publicly humiliate board members that they have marked as the enemy. They will feed lies to the media and do their best to cause disruption. They are trying to disguise the fact that the Oprah legal bills are a window into how our previous board weaponized and abused their power and used district resources to try to silence a board member. The fact that these current candidates and their treasury continue to rely on this style of abuse to support their campaign is beyond disturbing. Is this the kind of people we want on the board representing us? I hope not. Thank you.
Krista Fletcher, Flemington Borough. I have similar concerns. I would like to address a letter to the editor in Tap Into, written by Mary Ann Rempula, which falsely claims that Mrs. Peterson has cost the district $70,000 in legal fees, defending herself against the witch hunt that was aimed against her in 2023. Coincidentally, it was also Mary Ann Rempula who made the initial complaint against Mrs. Peterson in March of 2023, which is when the legal bills began to accrue. Between March 20 and April 24, 23, the board paid the previous board council more than $11,000 to help investigate and target Mrs. Peterson to publicly humiliate her. None of the $11,000 had to do with any legal appeal filed by Mrs. Peterson. The board spent an additional $1,000 on a petition to have Mrs. Peterson removed from the board and about $500 to review the personal board comments of Ms. Kellogg, Ms. Hughes, and Ms. Blutfield, which were aimed to publicly smear Mrs. Peterson and calling for her resignation. School boards are not permitted to use public resources to attempt to hold fellow board members liable for alleged ethics violations. This was made clear by the School Ethics Commission in February in a case against members of the Berkeley Heights Board of Education who engaged in the same behavior against a board member as the Central Board did against Mrs. Peterson. The commission found the Berkeley Heights board members guilty of ethics violations, stating that the board, quote, unquestionably weaponized the board to file legal proceedings against a fellow board member and went so far as to authorize the use of board counsel to support their cause, unquote. The commission went on to say that it was unethical for board members to vote at a public meeting to file ethics charges against another board member, and that it was unethical to use board resources to support their own personal desires. The Ethics Committee recommended that the board members be publicly censored, noting that the board members, quote, made this an issue of public interest when they sought to make the alleged ethical violations of a fellow board member known to the public by discussing it and voting on filing an ethics complaint at a public meeting. Therefore, the general public now has a right to be informed of the sanction publicly, unquote. I can only assume that there are pending ethics charges against many of the former and current board members involved in wasting taxpayer money and weaponizing the board to their own ends. Those board members will likely face public censure just like the Berkeley Heights board members. It is too bad that more public resources will have to be wasted in defending those board members to right this wrong. And that is the truth, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Maristella Wallace, Raritan Township. I would first like to address a complete lie about me. It's Ms. Wallace. Thank you. Today at work, I couldn't believe the conversation I was having. We're a laughingstock. I'd like to talk about professional development and the courses available to the teachers. Mrs. Santangelo was absolutely correct that they can still attend. They will just not be reimbursed, and they have to use a personal day. So that's very different than being able to attend, because that would also be unconstitutional. The fact that I'm even talking about a class over the Salem witch trial that took place in 1692 in 2025 is mind-boggling. Things can be presented as fact, and it's an evidence-based class. It happened. It happened in our history, and everybody acknowledges it. Whether or not you believe in witchcraft and magical thinking, that's done on your time, not on professional development in a public school. This is a public school. We don't have time for a theocracy or a plutocracy or anything that the board is slowly coming to. And the fact that we are still talking about something that the governor of Massachusetts in 1711 exonerated 22 people of not having witchcraft at all. And this seminar, you know what that it would probably end up teaching? The mob mentality, how that's not okay, how not to believe everything you hear, how to handle different points of view, how to handle women in power. It's mind-boggling that anyone in 2025 has issue with that, unless it's personal, unless it's your theological viewpoint on witchcraft, which I find offensive in public education. I do not profess my beliefs on anyone in this room, in this board, in this town, and I'm not on that board. So this is ridiculous that we're still talking about this. The other thing I'd like to address is that previous speaker who then said that myself, Reverend Williams, and Nikki Bryce do not deserve a seat on this board I think that's out of line. They officially campaigned on board time and in the public where it is banned from this school. And the fact that you, Mr. Attorney, I'm sorry, I forgot your name, did not shut that down is really out of line. Because isn't that what you're there for? That's it. And I have time, enjoy your ride home while you get paid for it.
Robert Lanicka, Raritan Township. So I had a whole prepared speech I was going to give here, talking about all the wacky things that are going on here with the board, and I don't even know that I can give them, in all honesty. I just have a couple of observations to make that I'm going to share with everybody also in this room. You all are the most dysfunctional board I've ever seen. I've been here coming to meetings, and I see you arguing in public. You're supposed to be unified in a direction that saves our kids, that keeps our educational system moving forward, that keeps them pointed in the right direction, that gives them the tools so that when they graduate from here, they become doctors, lawyers, engineers, plumbers, electricians, whatever, that they get their life together. But you all argue in public. I'm flabbergasted at this. How can I trust you to help guide our children with policies and procedures that are going to get them out of school? It's just amazing. And for all of you here, I find it offensive that we can't come together and unify around getting our kids the best education and the best support possible. That to me is just disgusting. Regarding the cancellation of Care Plus, you know, the process that the board has taken has created a huge vacuum in critical services that are provided to our kids. Why you didn't continue Care Plus while going through a parallel process of deciding to insource this properly is beyond me. Reckless is a great term for it. I run projects for multi-billion-dollar companies, and if I were to go in and just yank a project out and not have a plan to replace it, I'd be fired. I think you all ought to be fired. Thank you very much.
Maria Wright, Raritan Township. Mental health programs are proven to help students. Thoughts and prayers are not proven to help. Thank you.
Good evening, Janet Quattrone, Flemington Borough. As a member of this community, I follow what this board does because I care. Success for a community begins on this local level. Success for a community begins with its young people. They need our support. They need all the support we can give them. So I, like many, take the time to support and follow school board members, knowing how difficult the job is and hoping that they will be worthy of our trust. That word trust, it has been claimed by members of this board. It has been spoken by many people coming to this podium. Earlier, Vernon Williams reminded us that trust is one aspiration outlined in your mission. So we vote, we put our trust in those board members, and we trust that they are there as public servants, committed to the support and success of every child. Trust is earned, and when board members break our trust, we notice. And more importantly, when board members break our trust, they also let down our kids and their teachers. I respectfully ask, why did the majority of this board attempt to deny a significant professional development training to Hunterdon Central's teachers? This training, sponsored by the College of New Jersey, the Teachers as Scholars program, was already paid for, so the board was not acting as a good steward of the budget. Rather, it pains me to say it would seem that they sought to control teachers' ongoing growth, and I do not believe that that is in the board's job description. I just heard, though, that powerful learning is a part of your mission statement. Much, but perhaps still not enough, has been said of late about the loss of mental health services like Care Plus. I heard the statement read at the top of the meeting. I also heard the report that there was a recommendation to continue Care Plus, but it did not receive sufficient support on the board. And the gap that leaves currently for students that are in need today is more than troubling. I heard the plan to hire an internal counseling support that will result in a robust program as determined, I assume, by experts in the field. I certainly hope that this will remain a time-sensitive, topmost priority because folks, of course, will follow your progress on that here. I'm certainly encouraged to hear it suggested that board members are aware of the myriad stresses and challenges in being a high school student, and I hope of how many students have been saved by mental health resources in school. I might reasonably argue that that awareness should be in the board's job description. I want to thank you for your service and support the courageous, currently minority voices on this board. I and many will seek to support school board candidates this November that are honestly committed to the welfare of all students and their teachers. And I would ask the currently majority voices on this board to please stop and consider moving forward how they can actually be worthy of our trust. Thank you.
My name is Mary Deal. I live in Tewksbury Township, and I'm going to do something I think that might be a little bit unusual and comment on two things that happened here tonight that disturbed me. One was Member Gong's request that the attorney make available to her, and as I understand it, your attorney serves all of the members of the board. And so there should be transparency about any legal discussion or legal advice that is given by that attorney. All members should receive reports from your attorney, and I greatly support your request for that. I don't see any other way that there can be equality among the board members, as there should be in communications, especially legal communications. The other comment on tonight that I'd like to make is the gentleman who raised the concern about discipline and the fact that there were 3 subjective items and only one that was evidence-based, that had to do with student discipline. I believe that the response to that was, oh, well, we have a code of conduct. It's clear. Then I would say refer to the code of conduct. Don't have 2 different standards sitting out there. All you do is you create conflict. So I would really encourage that you make that change in that section of, I don't know, was it a policy, was it a goal, was it a what? But if you've got a code of conduct, use the code of conduct. Don't have something else. The other thing has been that I would like to comment, and has been more eloquently said, especially by the gentleman who talked before me. But it makes no sense to me whatsoever that you had a budget that was passed, considered, based on how many years? At least 3, right? 2, 3 years of providing mental health services? Well, you think there's something better? Fine, find it. Bring better. But you don't bring better by throwing out what was working. It boggles my mind that you would have a budget that provided for these needs of these students, and then all of a sudden you throw it out?
Thank you. Your time's up.
Reverend Vernon Williams again. Two things I'd ask that if you could clarify for me. That was one that was stated just prior to the open public forum, the second open public forum. Am I correct in what I heard a member of the board say, imply that perhaps board members don't get to hear the entire budget or don't get to be presented the entire budget before they come into this public meeting and vote on it? Am I correct in hearing what that board member said, that you don't get a chance to know what the entire budget is before you hear what the public gets to hear? And then two, can you vote to award a contract that is not being appropriated as a line item in your budget? So for instance, if Care Plus is what you voted on at the last meeting to not go forward with, if it is not a line item in your budget, why are you voting on it? Please clarify that.
Hi, Chad Maurer. I was up here earlier, and I'll be real quick. I'm just coming back to respond to the woman who was, I think, speaking about what I had discussed earlier. So it was in relation to the disruptive student policy, which is P5560, and it was second paragraph. There were 3 subjective criteria and 1 that was actually qualitative or quantitative, or evidence-based. There is a statement in that policy that refers to P5600, which is the code of conduct. That sentence specifically is disruptive students may be disciplined in accordance with that policy. So it's not indicative to me that the definition of a disruptive student is in the code of conduct. It's that if a student is deemed to be disruptive, they are disciplined in accordance with the code of conduct. So to me, the purpose of the disruptive student policy is to define what a disruptive student is. So my ask is in that second paragraph, take another look at it, really ask yourselves, is this too subjective? Right? So like the very first one, for example, is for the purposes of the policy, disruptive student means that a student who has difficulty establishing good relationships with peers. I don't know what that means, right? If I'm a very introverted student, then does that mean I'm disruptive, right? So it's those kinds of things there that don't quite make sense to me, so I'd appreciate if maybe that language could be fine-tuned and make better sense. The other one was the budget, and that was really 2 questions. It was why was community input stricken from the policy? And why is it appear to be the opinion of the board that their most important job, that statement was also stricken from the budget policy of, the most important thing we do is to have a budget or formulate a budget. Thank you.
All right, so seeing that there were no other speakers, we're going to end the final residents forum. I thank you all for coming. We are going to motion to convene into executive session. Can I get a second?
Will there be action after the executive session?
No. Okay, and a roll call, please.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mrs. Rothel?
Yes.
Mrs. Duggan? Ms. Gong?
Yes.
Ms. Gray?
Yes.
Dr. Halpern?
Yes.
Mrs. Kellogg?
Yes.
And Mrs. Santangelo?
Yes.